Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So, Venerable Sangha, Cialis, and dear Dhamma friends. So today we'll resume our discussion on uh, on the Sahajāta group, right? On the Sahajāta group, and in the Sahajāta group that we'll be discussing the Sahajāta, Sahajāta, the analytical states of the connaissance condition. I'm sorry, it should be connaissance group. Right? So from this group, first we'll be discussing the analytical states of the connaissance condition. Right. So no, we know that for the conditions in the connaissance group, connaissance grade group. Oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake here. Yeah, connaissance grade. Oh, I'm sorry, analytical states. It's already there, right? Connaissance grade is there. So this sentence we don't. Right. I will leave it like that. Okay. So the first one is, you know that in the connaissance grade group, that there were nine enumerations. So starting from Kusalo Kusalasa, we'll be discussing that 9 enumerations. So Kusalo Kusalasa is wholesome to wholesome. And the subject phrase Kusalo Dhamma is the conditioning phenomena of the constituent mental aggregates of the 21 wholesome consciousnesses and 38 mental factors which support reciprocally. So it's very straightforward for this case of the Kusala Kusalasa. The constituent aggregates, the wholesome mental aggregates, they are supporting each other, right? So that's what it's given as reciprocally. And the dative case phrase of Kusala Sadhamas, it means the conditioned phenomena of the constituent mental aggregates of 21 wholesome consciousness and 38 types of mental factors. So here for the instrumental case phrase, there are 6 conditions starting from the connaissance, the great connaissance of connaissance, pachas from the great connaissance one. So connaissance, and we have the mutuality from the middle, and then we have the association, right? Because it's the mental dhammas supporting each other. So so we have 6 pachas, right? Connaissance, mutuality, dependence, associations, presence, and non-disappearance. And they have to be completely obtained, right? Because all the conditioning states and the conditioned states, when this is taking place, the conditioned states they get the support of the connaissance. It fully. So that's why it's given as completely obtained. And then we move into the Kusalo Abhyakatassa. So here it's wholesome to indeterminate. And the subject phrase Kusalo Dhammo, it's the conditioning phenomena of the constituent mental aggregates of the. I think there's an error here. Let me check. Yeah, so here it should be constituent and assemblage. Assemblage of mental aggregates, which in the fivefold existence support for the mind-produced matter that has the wholesome consciousnesses of 21, the consciousness of 21 and 38 mental factors. Oh, I'm sorry, they have the constituent and assemblage, right? So what happened here? Okay, we will remove the assemblage here. Right? Okay, it was correct, yeah. Okay, which are constituents and assemblage. And the dative case phrase, we have the conditioned phenomena of mind-produced matter arising from the wholesome consciousness. And for the instrumental case phrase of Sahajāta Paccayana, there are 5 conditioning forces. We have the connaissance, dependence, disassociation, presence, and non-disappearance. So what are the conditions we have here? The 4 large conditions and the disassociation, right? So totaling to 5. Yeah. Okay. So before moving into the next enumeration, I'd like to share y'all a small message regarding regarding the future contents on the Paṭṭhāna course that we are doing at the moment. So we all know from the beginning, since the beginning of the course, we were discussing the connaissance condition, right? We discussed these conditions separately, and then we discussed how these conditions become common, right? Common with each others, if we on finding what are the commons there. And then we discussed this. Now we are discussing as the last step, we are discussing the analytical states fully, right? Together with the with those uh, uh, parallel conditions, right? So we are discussing in this way. So after that, this connaissance condition will be over. That subtopic will be over. So after that, we'll be moving into the other groups. Remember, right? There are 56 types of paccayas, which we are supposed to discuss, right? With all the subgroups. So we are still talking about the 15 of them. We are talking about still of the first 15. So, so what really I want to know to tell you is that, so after this section, the other conditions, right? Other conditions are not, other groups, I would rather say, they are not going to be complicated. They are not going to be complex and like this, right? So because for some of the paccayas in the connaissance small group, that there were 14 commons, right? 14 or 13 commons were there. So many paccayas, so many conditions are we have to understand simultaneously. So, but if when you are moving into the next groups, it will be less, right? Only the object group, the Aramana group, it consists of in one case, I think there were 8 or 9 paccayas. So in other cases, it's going to be less number of paccayas that we are going to discuss in the other groups. So now you might be thinking, oh, Bhante, you should have taught those easy things earlier, right? You should have taught these easy things earlier. And why should we have gone to the next stage? I mean, to the difficult one later on. But there is an advantage of learning this here in this way, because as I mentioned earlier, the relationships in the Sahajāta group, there are so many, so that things become quite complicated, complex, and looking at the next subchapter, right? The next subchapter, after discussing these 56 paccayas, we have a paccaya called Sabhaga and Ghatana. I don't know the proper English name. I think Sabhaga is common and Ghatana means combinations. I cannot remember the English terms for them, but it's kind of a section which combines many enumerations uh, for various paccayas, right? In various combinations, it explains about many paccayas, right? So in that again, the connaissance one is going to be difficult, right? So what I have experienced is that when you learn the connaissance, the basics of the connaissance group earlier, then you have some time to revise, to memorize, and have a decent understanding on the paccayas from the connaissance group in the after completing it. And then when we are doing the other 8 groups, then in that time you can do all this revising and everything. So once you are moving into the next main subchapter, right? Which is for the Sabhaga and Ghatana, then things are going to be easier, right? Because the most difficult, the most challenging part of learning the Kusalattika Paṭṭhāna is that chapter, the Sabhaga and Ghatana part, right? So once we are doing this in this way, by learning the Sahajāta group earlier, it's going to give you an advantage later on, right? So my message is that still, if you feel that you are behind, right, you don't understand everything what we are discussing in the class, especially with the Sahajāta group, you have time, right? You have time. So make sure that you put a decent effort on that, and then things will be easier, and these things will be easier in the next subchapter. Okay, so we'll move into the next one, the third one, which is Kusalo Kusalabhyakatassa, wholesome to the wholesome and indeterminate. So here we have the Kusalo Dhammo from the phrase Kusalo Dhammo, the conditioning phenomena of the constituent mental aggregates of the 21 wholesome consciousness and 38 mental factors which support for themselves and mind-produced matter. So you have to understand that they are supporting themselves and the mind-produced matter, right? And we have to, this have the constituent mental aggregates, right? Yeah. And then I'm sorry, here. Let me go through the next one. From the phrase Kusalattika Pat from the dative case, it's the conditioned phenomena of the constituent mental aggregates of 21 wholesome consciousnesses, 38 types of mental factors, and the mind-produced matter. And for the instrumental phrase, we only have the 4 paccayas from the Sahajāta main group, because we discussed the reason, right? Not to have, for not having the paccayas from the Sahajāta middle group. Yeah. Okay, so now we move into the akusala terms. So the first one is akusalo akusalasa, which is the unwholesome to the unwholesome. From the subject phrase, we have the 12 unwholesome consciousness and 27 mental factors, which are constituents, which serves as conditions for themselves, or we can say which support reciprocally. And then we have the dative case phrase, 12 unwholesome consciousness and 27 mental factors as constituent mental aggregates serves as conditions for themselves. And for the case of the instrumental case phrase, the 3 instrumental case phrases for the unwholesome, they are similar to the wholesome phrases, right? So the number of paccayas, they are the same. The next one is akusalo abhyakatassa, which means unwholesome to the indeterminate. The subject phrase of akusalo dhammo, the conditioning phenomena in the 5-fold existence, where the 12 unwholesome consciousness, it should be N right here, and 27 mental factors as constituent and assemblage mental aggregates serves as condition for the mind-produced matter, right? It's very straightforward. It's the same method as we find in the 3 wholesome terms. And for Abhyakatassa Dhammasa, it's the conditioned phenomena of the mind-produced matter arising from unwholesome consciousness. Now we move into the 6th one, akusalo akusalabhyakatassa, unwholesome to the unwholesome and indeterminate. And for the subject phrase, we have the 12 unwholesome consciousness and 27 mental factors as constituent mental aggregates, which serves condition for both mental aggregates and the mind-produced matter. And for akusalasacha abhyakatasacha dhammasa, we have the 12 unwholesome consciousness and 27 mental factors, constituent mental aggregates, and the mind-produced matter. Same, right? Same method, nothing to discuss really. Okay, now we move into the number 7, which is abhyakato abhyakatassa, indeterminate. to the indeterminate during lifetime and at the moment of conception. So these are the two sections, the subsections we have to discuss here, as usual. From the subject phrase Abhyakato Dhammo, we have the 36 resultant consciousnesses, the 20 functional consciousnesses, 38 mental factors as constituent mental aggregates, serves as condition for both the mental aggregates themselves and the mind-produced matter, right? We learned this thing previously, so nothing to discuss really. Yeah. And for the phrase Abhyakatassa Dhammasa, we have should be 36 resultant consciousnesses, 20 functional consciousnesses, and 38 mental factors as constituent mental aggregates and mind-produced matter. For the instrumental case phrase, we have 8 paccayas, and all of them we have to take, it's given as completely and appropriately. So we have to look at the conditioning and the condition states and consider them. So by the condition of connaissance, we have 8 paccayas: the connaissance, mutuality, dependence, resultant, association, disassociation, presence, and non-presence. Right. So what we have really here is the 4 connaissance large conditions and the 4 connaissance medium condition. So totaling to 8. Okay. And then at the moment of conception, for the subject phrase, we have the conditioning phenomena of 19 rebirth linking consciousnesses, the 35 mental factors as mental aggregates, which is constituent and assemblage, and also the heartbeats, right? So these are the conditioning states which support the associated aggregates and karma produce matter, right? And from the dative case phrase, we have the conditioned phenomena of the 19 rebirth linking consciousnesses, 35 mental factors as constituent and assemblage, and rebirth linking karma produce matter. Okay? So these are the conditioned phenomena. For the instrumental case phrase, we have 8 conditions again. Connaissance, mutuality, dependent, resultant, association, disassociation, presence, and non-disappearance. So there are 8 conditions in total. And then, yeah, okay. And next one, because this is the Sahajāta Paccaya, we have something which calls standalone material phenomena, right? I hope that you can remember it, that this is where the relationship, connaissance relationship of the materiality, only materiality is shown here, right? So what was it really, right? So in essence, it's the 4 great materiality, the 4 great elements supporting each other, and the 4 great elements supporting the derived matter, right? So that's what we have in essence. And for that, we had 7 types of materiality there, and that's what it's presented here in the standalone material phenomena. So in the subject phrase, we have the conditioning phenomena are the 4 great elements, both constituent and assemblage, which by the way of mind produce matter at the moment of conception, karma produce matter, external matter, nutriment produce matter, temperature produce matter, non-percipient beings karma produce matter, and during life karma produce matter, which they support reciprocally and to the derived matter. Right. Then we have the dative case phrase, Abhyakatassa Dhammasa. The conditioned phenomena are the derived matter together with 4 great elements, which arise by the way of mind-produced matter. At the moment of conception, karma-produced matter, external matter, nutriment-produced matter, temperature-produced matter, non-percipient beings, karma-produced matter, and during life, karma-produced matter. Right? So that is which comes here. And for the instrumental case phrase, we have uh, by the condition of connaissance. There are 5 conditions, right? Connaissance, mutuality, dependence, presence, non-disappearances, which has to be taken as completely and appropriately. Okay, so but here for the appropriately, it applied for the mutuality, right? Uh, because when the 4 great elements, when they support each other, right, reciprocally, then we have this mutuality condition. And when they are supporting the derived matter, then the mutuality condition is not applicable. Right? So that's how we need to split it. Right. Then we have the eighth and the ninth one, which is eighth one is Kusalabhyakato Abhyakata, so wholesome and indeterminate. There should be and here, wholesome and indeterminate to indeterminate. And here we have the subject phrase Kusalocha Abhyakato Cha Dhamma. It's a bit cha here. Cha Dhamma. So which the conditioning phenomena are the mental aggregates, both constituent and assemblage, which consist of 21 wholesome consciousnesses, the 38 mental factors, and the 4 great elements, right? So I hope that you all can remember that here what is explained here is that this wholesome component and the indeterminate components, the mental aggregates, the wholesome mental aggregates, plus the 4 great elements, they are supporting the mind-produced matter, right? So that's what it says here, right? Both constituent and assemblage at the occasion of arising in the 5 existence supports to the mind-produced matter. And for the dative case phrase, abhyakatassa dhammassa, it's the conditioned phenomena or the mind-produced matter which arises due to wholesome consciousness. And then we have the instrumental case phrase, Sahajāta paccayana, by the condition of connaissance. There are 4 conditioning forces: connaissance, dependence, presence, and non-disappearance, which has to be taken completely. Yeah. Yeah. So here also we only have 4 conditions, obviously for that reasons we mentioned earlier. Right. And for the 9th one, then it's the same, right? The pattern is the same as for the 8th one. So here the only difference is the unwholesome mental aggregates are added, right? Apart from that, the other details are the same as the 8th one. So for the instrumental case phrase also same. Right. So now we are moving into the next one, which is the connaissance medium, the analytical states of the mutuality condition. So in the case of the mutuality condition, we know that there are 3 enumeration: kusalo kusalasa, akusalo akusalasa, and abhyakato abhyakatasa. So here for the kusalo kusalasa and akusalo akusalasa, they are the same as the uh, connaissance condition. Okay, everything is same. All the pachas, the condition states, the same. So we are not going to explain them. So, but in the case of the abhyakato abhyakatasa, we have to explain here a little bit. Because during the lifetime, we only have to take the mentality supporting each other, the mental aggregates, right? So here we have the mental aggregates, which are consisting of 36 resultant consciousnesses, 20 functional consciousnesses, and 38 mental factors. And then for the dative case phrase, we have the same set of mental factors. I'm sorry, the mental aggregates, which are constituents, right? We can easily understand this one. And yeah, okay. For the instrumental case phrase, we have the condition of mutuality, connaissance, dependence, resultant, association, presence, and non-disappearances, which completely and which has taken completely and appropriately. So here, mm, here that uh, the mutuality and the connaissance for has to be taken as mutuality, the connaissance grade 4, and the association. They have to be taken as completely, and the resultant has to be taken as uh, uh, appropriately, because we have the 20 functional consciousnesses here. Okay, so now we move into the next one. At the moment of conception, we have the subject phrase here, abhyakato dhammo. The conditioning phenomena are the mental aggregates, constituents, and both constituent and assemblage consisting of 19 at the moment of conception consciousnesses and 35 mental factors together with the heart base which support the mental aggregates and to the heart base. So why does the heart base come here? We know that the heart base and the mental aggregates, they support each other at the moment of conception. So that's why we have the uh, heart base in addition to the mental aggregates here. For the dative case phrase, we have the conditioned phenomena of which the mental aggregates, constituents, and both constituent and assemblage consisting of 19 at the moment of conception consciousnesses, 35 mental factors together with the heart base. So the next one is the instrumental case phrase. So what are the conditions here? There are 8 in total. There shouldn't be 8. Yes, I think, yeah, it's correct to have 8 here. So we have the 4 great connaissance one, and we have the association, the disassociation, uh, mutuality, of course, and I think one, and the resultant also, right? Yeah, resultant is also there. Yeah. So the anchor condition of mutuality and the forces of connaissance large group are completely obtained, right? Because they are the base conditions. I'm sorry, yeah, because the mutuality is the base condition and the other four, they're completely obtained. Mm. And when the 4 mental aggregates serve as a condition to the heart base, the resultant condition apply. Right? When the mental aggregates are supporting the heart base, the resultant condition is applicable. But when the heart base, it does not serve as a condition to the mental aggregates by the way of resultant condition. So the association, and also the case of the association condition, it applies to the mental phenomena, among the mental phenomena only, and not with the rupas, materiality. And the case of the disassociation, it applies to the when at the moment of conception, mental aggregates and heart base serve reciprocally, right? When they support each other, then it's applied. So therefore, the conditions of resultant, association, they are obtained appropriately. And the other conditions, the other are obtained completely. So the next one is the standalone materiality. So in the standalone materiality, we have, as I mentioned earlier, so in the standalone materiality, in the Sahajāta Paccaya, there were the 4 great elements supporting each other and the 4 great elements supporting the derived matter. So the derived matter part is removed here because for the derived matter, the great elements support the derived matter, but the derived matter does not support uh, the great element. So only the great elements supporting each other. That component only is taken here, that itself, right? Not the rest. So here we have the, I think there's an error here. Yeah. Yeah, we cannot take assemblage here. We'll remove this sentence, the phrase itself. We cannot take it. Can take like that. Or we can say this, the constituent great element. Constituent, we can say constituent like that. Yes. And for the dative case phrase, again, they are the same set of dhammas which come here, right? 7 types of materiality, uh, 4 great elements which are constituent. Right. For the instrumental case phrase, there are only 5 paccayas, right? 4 from the Sahajāta great group and the mutuality. That's all. And then we have here the move to the resultant condition. So resultant condition, we know there is only one enumeration, abhyakato abhyakatasa, the indeterminate to indeterminate. And that again, it has 2 components at the period of life continuity and at the moment of conception. So in the period of life continuity, we take the resultant aggregates, right? So 36 resultant consciousnesses and 38 mental factors which support each other and the mental aggregates and the mind produced matter. For the dative case phrase, we have the 36 resultant consciousness, the 38 mental factors, and also the mind produced matter. For the instrumental case phrase, there are 8 paccayas here. So the resultant, connaissance, mutuality, dependence, association, disassociation, presence, and non-disappearances, which has to be non-disappearance, which has to be taken completely and appropriately. Yeah. So totaling to 8 paccayas, right? So I think it's now you can very easily split which are completely and which are appropriately. Then we move to the next one, which is at the moment of conception. So at the moment of conception, the subject phrase is uh, the conditioning phenomena are the mental aggregates, which are both constituent and assemblage, which consists of 19 at the moment of conception consciousnesses, the rebirth linking consciousnesses, and the 35 mental factors which support each other, mental aggregates, and comma produce matter, right? And then we have the dative case phrase, uh, and here we have the aggregates which are constituents consisting of 19 at the moment of conception, consciousness, and the 35 mental factors. And also we have the comma produce matter. For the instrumental case phrase, there are 8, right? Same 8, 4 from the Sahajāta group, Sahajāta great group, and Sahajāta middle group from each, which are completely and appropriately obtained. Then we have the next paccaya is the connaissance medium, the association condition. And here also we have 3 enumeration, the kusalo kusalasa, akusalo akusalasa, and abhyakato abhyakatasa. And the case of kusalo kusalasa and akusalo akusalasa, they are same as the connaissance condition. And for abhyakato abhyakatasa, we have to discuss at the period of life continuity plus at the moment of conception. So in the case of the period of life continuity, we have to take all the mental aggregates, right, which are the 36 resultant consciousness, 20 functional consciousness, and the 35 mental factors, which are constituents, which support each other. For the dative case phrase, there are 36 resultant consciousnesses, 20 functional consciousnesses, and the 38 mental factors, which are constituents, they support each other. And then for the instrumental case phrase, we have 7 paccayas, 7 conditioning forces. In addition to the Sahajāta grade, connaissance grade, we have the mutuality, the association, mutuality, and the resultant here. So that which totals to 7. Right. And at the moment of conception, we have the 19 rebirth linking consciousnesses, the 35 mental factors, which are constituents which support each other. The same set of dhammas becomes the conditioned phenomena as well. Okay. For the instrumental case phrase, we have 7 paccayas, the 4 from the connaissance grade, and then we have the 7. Yeah, we have the association, the mutuality, and the resultant, right? Yeah. Yes. So with that, we are done with the association, and the next one is disassociation. We have an error here, right? So I'm not sure whether this is corrected. Maybe it's correct in. Yeah. So okay, is it correct in Chinese?
It's wrong, Pandit. Also need to record.
Okay. So the Kusalo Abhyakatasa, we know there are three enumerations here. Kusalo Abhyakatasa, wholesome to indeterminate, Akusalo Abhyakatasa, unwholesome to indeterminate. They are the same as the connaissance conditions. We are not going to explain them. Okay. So in Abhyagato Abhyakatasa, we have to discuss two types, two parts. For the Abhyagato Dhammo, it's the conditioning phenomena are the mental aggregates, both constituent and assemblage, which are 22 resultant consciousness, which excludes the 4 immaterial resultants, the 10 twofold. Oh, it's wrong here. It should be either 10, so it would be 10 2 5-fold sense consciousnesses, right? It is to be adjusted like this. The 2 5-fold sense consciousnesses, the depth consciousness of Arahant, 20 functional consciousnesses, and the 38 mental factors. And these dhammas, they arise in the 5-fold existence. And all of these, they serve as the condition to the mind-produced matter. For the dative case phrase, we have the mind-produced matter, which arises due to the resultant and functional consciousnesses. For the instrumental case phrase, Vipayutta Paccayana, there are 6 conditions in total, in addition to the 4 grade, Sahajāta 4 grade, we have the dissociation and the resultant. Okay? So together, there are 6 conditions. So this appropriately, right, which has to be taken as completely and appropriately, and the appropriately is apply only to the resultant condition, right? Because it's not applied when the functional consciousnesses are arising. So that's why it's only it's taken as appropriately. And then we move into the final part, which is the at the moment of conception. So for the subject phrase, we have the conditioning phenomena, the mental factors, mental aggregates, which are both constituent and assemblage, consisting of 5-fold existence at the moment of conception consciousnesses, the 35 mental factors, which supports the common-produced matter, and also there's a second part here, right? So from here, there's a second part. The constituent and assemblage of these mental aggregates together with the hard base, which support reciprocally. right? So we have to understand here two types, right? Which is the mental aggregates supporting the comma produced matter. That's number one. The other one is the mental aggregates support the hard base, and this hard base is supporting the mental aggregate. So we have to understand these two parts here. And for the instrumental case phrase, we have 7 paccayas. So in addition, small, right? Same font. Right. So there are four in addition to the 4 connaissance great large conditions, we have the mutuality, the resultant, and the disassociation, totaling to 7. And here also we have to understand, we have to take all these paccayas, they are taken as, here it should be completely and here should be taken as completely and appropriately. Let me check. It's given as completely, but I have also written here in my book, the Sinhalese book, also as completely. But I think it should be completely and appropriately. So why it should be taken as completely and appropriately? It's because of the resultant condition. Because the resultant condition, it is, we know that when the mental aggregates are supporting the mental aggregates and also the related materiality. So in this case, the related materiality are the comma produced matter. Then the resultant condition applies. But because this is the Vipayuta Paccaya, the hard base, we know, hard base is supporting the mentality, mental aggregates. So when this relationship is there from hard base to the mental aggregates, the resultant condition is not there. So that's why we should take this as completely and appropriately.
Sorry, Pandey, can you repeat again?
I mean, also here that here, like what I'm telling is that, like here I added the appropriately, right? So reason for adding is the resultant condition. So when we know the resultant condition, the conditioning states are the mental aggregates. So the condition states of the resultant condition are the mental aggregates plus the related materiality. So here the related materiality are the comma produced matter, right? But in the Vipayuta Paccaya, we know that at the moment of conception, the mental aggregates are supporting the hard base, and the hard base is supporting the mental aggregates. We see the reciprocal relationship. So when the mental aggregates are supporting the hard base, yes, the Vipaka Paccaya is there. But when the uh, when the hard base is supporting the mental aggregates, the Vipaka Paccaya is not there. Brother JJ is suggesting Bandami Bante, also Anya Manya will also be appropriately, please. Yes, correct. Anya Manya also. The mutuality has the same thing. Because I'll add that one too. Good that you mentioned that one too. I missed it out. Because the mutuality, the mental aggregates when they are supporting the rupas, right? When the mental aggregates, when they are supporting the karma bone materiality, excluding the hard base, the mutuality is not applicable, right? Because the materiality, they do not support the mentality. So therefore, the mutuality is not there. Okay, so that's all that it comes here. To discuss in terms of the Sahajāta Paccaya. So I did not prepare. I thought that the class would run. Okay, what does it say? Ah, okay, good. Okay, there's this question from brother Zeze. We'll answer this later on, right? I mentioned, I mean, later on means like later in the, okay. So, so when we were learning, the commons in the connaissance conditions, uh, for this great connaissance conditions and the middle connaissance conditions, we learned that the other paccayas, all the other paccayas, they become a common to them, right? This Sahajāta small group, they become a common to the connaissance great and the connaissance middle conditions. And so when we discuss the connaissance today, when we are discussing the analytical states of the connaissance great and the connaissance middle, we did not add the Sahajāta small group here, right? They, of course, they become a sabhaga, they become a common, but they are not applied here. So why he's asking what is the reason for that? The reason, I would say in very simple terms, it has a much elaborated answer when we learn the Gatana, which comes as the next main chapter, not the next, what do you call the next subchapter, right? Not the Vattu Purejata. After that, there is another called Sabhaga and Gatana. So to understand this, really, we need to learn that chapter too. But what is done here, why we learn here is it's based on that chapter, right? Based on that chapter, it's explained in this way. It's not added here. So because
这里的
yeah, so in that Pali, the Sahajāta, I mean, under great connaissance and the middle connaissance, the small Sahajāta groups are not taken. Yeah. Yes. Now I'm reading that answer from my book which I wrote. It's really the last paragraph of the Ghatana in my book, which explained that reason, which comes from the Mula Tika. So really, we try to understand many things before to find the answer for this one. So we'll share the merits which we accumulated by learning, teaching, translating, and discussing the Dhamma. Yeah, so may it be a supportive factor for all of us to attain Nibbana. So with this wish, we share the merits.
现在呢，我们一起来做一下我们的回向和发愿。那愿我们的授课的功德、听法的功德、翻译的功德、探讨佛法的功德，都能够成为大家正得涅槃的助缘。
Akasattha ca bhummatta devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu sasanang. Akasattha ca bhummatta devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu desanang. Akasattha ca bhummatta devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu mang parang. Idamme ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Idamme ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Idamme ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamu satan samagamu hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Yang patntang kusalang tassa anubhavena panino sabbe saddhamma rajassa ñatva dhammang sukhavahang papunantu visuddhaya sukhaya patipattiya asoka manupayasang nibbana sukhamuttamang chirang tiṭṭhatu saddhammo dhamme hontu sagarava sabbepi satta kalena සම්මාදේවෝ පවස්සතු යතාරක්කෙන්සු පෝරාණා සුරාජානු තතේවිමං රාජාරක්කතු ධම්මේන අත්තනෝව පජං පජං ඉමාය ධම්මානු ධම්ම පටිපත්තියා බුද්ධං පූජේමි ඉමාය ධම්මානු ධම්ම පටිපත්තියා ධම්මං පූජේමි ඉමාය ධම්මානු ධම්ම පටිපත්තියා සංඝං පූජේමි අද්ධායිමාය පටිපත්තියා ජාති ජරා ව්‍යාධි මරණම් හා පරිමුච්චිස්සාමි ඉදං මේ පුඤ්ඤං ආසවක්ඛයා වහං හෝතු ඉදං මේ පුඤ්ඤං නිබ්බානස්ස පච්චයෝ හෝතු මම පුඤ්ඤ භාගං සබ්බ සත්තානං භාජේමි තේ සබ්බේ මේ සමං පුඤ්ඤ භාගං ලබන්තු බුද්ධ ශාසනං චිරං තිට්ඨතු බුද්ධ ශාසනං චිරං තිට්ඨතු බුද්ධ ශාසනං චිරං තිට්ඨතු සාධු සාධු සාධු